All right, it's loading. Hold on, and then I'll start. Of course, I'm running out of tea, but that's okay. It's loading. Hold on, and then I'll start.
Tnathan should be pulling up here pretty soon.
All right, so I got the participant list up so I can make sure. All right, you guys ready?
He just called me.
Because I think we are live.
Sipping on this peach crown. Let's get it.
I'm gonna turn my camera off to go get some in a minute as y'all introduce yourself. All right, we gonna go ahead and start, okay?
Velvet do-rag. Okay,
let's get it.
All right, everybody, welcome to the second episode of Do Better, Honey, Do Better 24/7 with Eb Ready. Today we have a monster lineup I'm super excited about. All right, so I got the participant. We're going to be talking about pro-blackness. What does it mean to be pro-black? Can one be pro-black while having a non-black significant other, or can you be pro-black white being mixed? But first, let's go ahead and get into all of our wonderful participants that I'm so thankful to have. Let's start off with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. I Speak 1906.
Oh, come on, the humility. Appreciate the intro. My name is Anthony Highland, formerly known on social media as I Speak 1906. I've been married for a little over 6 years, 3 beautiful children. And my wife, her family is a bit mixed, but her father and her mother is Black. So definitely excited to have this conversation and excited for the lineup as well.
Merc?
What's going on? It's your boy Young Merc here. On TikTok, I go by Young Merc Fire. Basically, I rap, activist, whole 9 yards. I do a little bit of everything. Basically, it's the same concept. My girlfriend, who I love right now, she just happens to be white. And, the reason why I wanted to touch on this topic, because even before I dated white women, I was dating Black women before anything. And I've always considered myself pro-Black due to the fact that, I've always loved myself. I love my people. I've always done everything in my power to make sure that I elevate us as Black people and, shut down, false narratives that people push as far as, welfare recipients and all stuff, and I pride myself on that. So me personally, I've always considered myself a pro-Black man. But however, due to recent, topics and such as that, I've found out that people have other opinions on it. So that's really what I'm here to engage with the dialogue and, get other people's outputs on.
Absolutely. Chico?
Peace and ashe to the goddesses. My name is Gico. People know me on TikTok as Gico. I'm an activist, advocate for Black women. Gico stands for Gifted in the Creation of Excellence. And I'm a pro-Black man, been pro-Black since I jumped out the womb. And I'm conscious in regards to everything in regards to my community and knowing the worth behind Black women. So my love is for Black women. My passion is behind Black women. I'm proud to step before Black women. So y'all know the vibes. Okay.
Q?
So y'all, my name is Kadri Ismail, or more commonly known on TikTok as Carmack Q. I'm a pro-Black socialist, revolutionary for the people, and I recently was the creative director at my Black Students for Unity club in my college. But yeah, glad to be here, y'all. I am mixed, so I'm both European and African, and I think this question is a little bit more complex than people might think. I don't think it's just a yes or no kind of answer. So glad to get into it and glad to be here. So thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for coming. Flocko?
What's up? It's your boy DJFlocko. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. I go to Morehouse, class of 2023. I'm a sophomore. I'm a DJ. That's why my name is DJFlocko. And yeah, I'm an entrepreneur. And my dad is biracial. And we're going to get into this topic today. I'm glad that all of these aspiring, creative Black men that have platforms are coming here to speak today, and just speak their minds, because not a lot of spaces have this.
Mr. Tnathan?
Greetings, salutations. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
What's up? I'm just going to be Tnathan, not Dr. Tnathan today. My name is Tnathan Fairley. I am professor at a historically Black college and university. While transitioning to another one, I am working on a book. I am an activist first and foremost, and I'm interested in see how other people feel about this question also, because I have some things to say about it also. So
Oh,
let's get it.
Hold up, real quick. What HBCU you teach at?
Are we live yet?
yes, we are.
I'll answer that question later. I have I'll just give you a hint. It's in Mississippi.
Oh, I already know. Please
Okay.
come to the house. Listen, come to the house. We would.
I have two nephews who graduated from Morehouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, not Clark, Morehouse.
It's all good. I love all HBCUs. I love all HBCUs.
Yeah, I do also. Even when I do guest lecturing, I'm never really going to leave. I might go to another university, but I'm never going to leave my HBCUs behind.
Yeah.
All right. So I think what I want to start with before we get into the heavy question, because I've noticed there are so many varying definitions of what being pro-Black actually means to people. So, Merc, what do you think?
Like I said, I mean, to me, like I said, even though I've dated outside my race, I've always considered personally being pro-Black to me is like I said, somebody who loves not only themselves, but loves the Black community as a whole, does everything in their power to elevate the Black community, shopping Black, rather it's going to Black-owned businesses, elevating Black voices, doing everything you can to help elevate the Black people as a whole, shutting down misinformation where, people spread false rumors about Black people, about all the stereotypes about the single parent households, et cetera, et cetera. And like I said, me, I've always loved my Black people. I put my people first before anything. And, there's been, I've gotten fights with friends, who are pretty much I've known my whole life because they're like, man, like, where did this all come from, man? It's like, it seems like you almost like, you don't like white people or something anymore. And I'm like, it ain't got nothing to do with that, bro. Y'all listening completely the wrong way. Y'all hearing it and y'all taking it the wrong way out of context. Because at the end of the day, yes, I want unity, but at the end of the day, Black people, we've been held back for so long. Until this day, every time that we speak up about it, people want to get upset. People want to spread false narratives, and people just want to do everything that they can to silence us. And, we got the blood of our ancestors flowing through our veins, and it's not going to happen on my watch. So for me personally, that's what being pro-Black means to me as a Black man.
Flocko, do you agree?
Yeah, I kind of agree and kind of disagree. So, I mean, my answer is, so what I said before, my answer is kind of funny. The reason I feel like you can be pro-Black or like date outside your race kind of is because the term pro-Black has been watered down for the past decade in itself. We have literally white people buying Black-owned candles and then saying, I'm pro-Black. I'm posting a Black square. I'm pro-Black. Like at this point, like pro-Black literally has like a little value to it. I would say like you can't be a Black radicalist or a Pan-Africanist and date outside your race, and that's what I am.
Okay. Tnathan, what do you think?
I think it's not a black and white question. I think it depends on the conditions. See, and I'll say it this way. Say you're dating someone or you're in a relationship with Caucasian, and they have not disavowed their family members that are racist, then I think there's a problem. If you haven't disavowed the family members that are engaged in racist practices and activities, and then say you're pro-Black when you're married to somebody who is an advocate and that person hasn't checked you on it, then I don't see how, if I can't look at you and say that you have made the hard decisions in your personal life to fight for pro-Blackness, then I'm not going to buy into it as well. I'm not going to go to racist grandmama's house and you tell me, well, she's old and she's like this and we just have to overlook her. No, I think that becomes complicated. If you haven't cut the ties to the racist members of your family that will don't believe that we are more than second-class citizens, then we can't talk pro-blackness, because pro-blackness is not something you do when it's convenient or when it's not difficult. It's what we do all the time. So my answer is it depends on what that person has sacrificed that would make me believe they're pro-blackness. Because you try to drag me to grandma's, your racist grandpa and grandma's house and tell me to act accordingly, we're going to have a lot of problems.
Facts.
So the tail end of that question, I'm gonna ask Q, like, what do you think, especially in regards to, you know, being mixed and hearing that part of his explanation?
So me, like, I do have white family, and I totally agree. I don't talk to my white family members that are racist or showed racist tendencies. Even one dude, I was roommates with him in college. He's biracial too, but he was a coon. And I tried to like show him like, hey, bro, like, you know, try to move him a little bit more left. You know, he didn't respond to that well. And so, yeah, I really cut him off too. So I totally agree. And I do believe it is conditional, like you were saying. And yeah, it's like whenever you can be pro-black, like, are you being pro-black? You know, I don't think you can at all times necessarily. But if you have the opportunity to, are you doing that? And being Black in America, I mean, you have to make sacrifices. So then again, it's like, all right, what sacrifices are you making to be pro-Black? So yeah, that's my thoughts.
So, Ant, let me ask you the statement he just made about you can't be pro-Black all the time. What do you think about that?
Well, I wholeheartedly disagree. You cannot be pro-Black and date someone that is not Black and be with someone that's not Black. That's not to say that they don't deserve love. That's not to say that they don't deserve, you know, someone to, you know, be by their side. But let's so, you know, in the words of my brother, consciously, education is elevation, right? So let's look at some of the definitions that they have out for being pro-Black, right? So pro-Black, as written now, this is not a hard, fine definition. But I'm definitely going to qualify it afterwards. This is from Urban Dictionary. You know, I don't typically care for Urban Dictionary, but I think it kind of gathers the gamut of what pro-Blackness kind of sort of is, right? Pro-Black is the lifestyle that encourages the economic growth and development of Black people as a whole, with the purpose of increasing the wealth and population of Black people around the world, whether it be spending money with Black-owned businesses in your communities or online. Promoting love for Black people and encouraging Black youth is its sole purpose is to keep uplifting Black people in America to be proud and the same. Right. So in this regard, again, I feel like that is a very loose definition. However, I think what we have to take into perspective here is when we talk about being pro-Black, me personally, I feel that you can't talk about being pro-Black and exclude the Black family. A part of that uplifting of the Black community is preserving the Black family, the Black man, the Black woman, the Black child. So in this regard, I think sometimes what happens is we misconstrue being pro-Black and being for the cause. Now, you can be for the cause, which is standing up against those issues, you know, correcting the misinformation, ensuring that you're maintaining who you are while simultaneously being with someone that is not Black. But to be pro-Black, you cannot just exclusively exclude the part that you don't feel fits into the gamut of what pro-Blackness is. Pro-Black is pro-Black through and through. There are no exceptions. So I'm pro the Black woman. She is pro the Black man. We are pro-Black children. We're pro the Black community. We are pro the uplifting of Black businesses and the economic enrichment of our community. Now, I definitely think that we get to teetering the fence a little bit when we start talking about individuals that engage with you that may very well be outside of the gamut of what is considered Black. In this regard, I would say this individual needs to ensure that they're doing their research, you know, make sure that they understand what comes along with being with a Black man or with a Black woman. But holistically, in my opinion, the whole idea of can you be pro-Black all the time? If you are pro-Black, you're pro-Black. There are no exceptions. However, there are times where you may very well be for the cause, but you may not necessarily be pro-Black. And I think it's very important to put that into perspective.
So I have a question. If you are not pro-Black, does that mean you're anti-Black? Or is it just
absolutely not? That just means that you're for the cause. Now, if you're not pro-Black and not for the cause, that's when it becomes a problem. Because you can, I think like young Merc said, you can still know who you are, stand up for the community, fight the misinformation, things of that nature. You're actively part of the working process, right? However, being pro-Black, again, and I have to double back to this, is you cannot exclude the Black family. And historically, we've been taught to exclude the Black family with the extraction of the Black man from the Black family structure. So in this regard, if you're not pro-Black, that doesn't mean that you're anti-Black unless you are actively against the cause.
So by you saying that, you also believe that you cannot be pro-Black if you're not Black.
No, absolutely not. You got to be Black to be pro-Black.
Does anybody think that you can be pro-Black and not be Black?
I personally don't. I feel like if you are pro-Black, you personally have to be Black, rather if it's only half, or I personally feel you have to be Black to consider yourself pro-Black. I feel like it's not weird, but I feel like it's a little bit controversial for a white person to consider themselves pro-Black. Like my girl, she's a huge Black Lives Matter activist. She constantly reading up on books and literature to educate herself, reading up on white fragility, learning how to be anti-racist, all that good stuff like that. But if she were to tell me that she considers herself pro-Black, that would just be strange to me, just for the simple fact of, like I said, touching back on what Ice said, it's all about, most people consider, like, if you're pro-Black, it has to be all about being Black, whether it's a Black man, Black woman, Black child. And I get all that too, but that's personally what I feel about it. I personally don't feel like you cannot be not Black and consider yourself pro-Black. It just don't make sense to me.
So if by that logic, you're saying that could you be anti-Black and be Black?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Oh, 100%.
Yes.
If that's the case,
yes.
All that.
Okay.
You've been on
if
TikTok.
If that's the case, the logical progression then is that you could be pro-Black and not be Black. You can't take that logical progression out of it. If you're going to say that, unless you're going to say that none of our accomplices, I'm not talking about allies, y'all know how I feel about that. Right. You're saying that our accomplices can never amount to get to the level of being pro-Black. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to find that problematic in the logistics of it. We can't have one side of this logistic saying only Black people can be pro-Black, and have the other side to say Black people can be anti-Black, but you can't have the same for other ethnic groups or races.
But you also have to remember that white people, like, no matter where they are in society, they hold space as a white person. So like they have the power, that they're using their power no matter if they like it or not. So I don't think you can be pro-Black and be white. Can I get a working definition?
I heard what Anthony said, but what is pro-Black to you all without that definition? I want to hear about it being bathed in Blackness, or to make it exclusionatory like that. Because, I think if we can say anti-Black and we can qualify that for anybody, then we have to understand if there's a set of criteria to be pro-Black, it must be outside of our skin color if Rocket Raccoons exist.
Right. Well, see, here's the deal. I think, go ahead, Mike.
So this is the thing with pro-Blackness. One thing we have to realize about pro-Blackness, to piggyback off what the homie DJFlocko says, pro-Blackness within the term, it's been watered down for years because we've been taught historically to make accommodations for white people. That's the main reason why a lot of people are upset whenever you hear somebody say, I'm pro-Black because I believe in the pro-Black family. I believe in the pro-Black community. I believe in the economic and financial freedom of my people. So therefore, within pro-Blackness, when you tell somebody, oh, no, you're not pro-Black because you're not with a Black partner, a lot of people get offended at that, and they think that negates the work they put in their community. Also, to add off of Anthony, like, you can be for the cause, but not be pro-Black, because there's a lot of people who are for the cause, but just aren't pro-Black. So the thing is, if life starts genetically, if the Black woman has the Eve gene, which is literally the blueprint and foundation for everybody in the world, including myself as a Black man, I cannot call myself pro-Black if I'm not taking care of the source, loving the source, marrying the source, and then procreating with that source. So the thing is, the only reason the term pro-Black has been watered down for years is because people wanted to accommodate white people. That's the prime reason why they didn't even like Malcolm X, because he wasn't accommodating white people. That's the reason why they don't like a lot of these powerful Black leaders, because they're not making room to accommodate or coddle the feelings of white people. So that's why I say within pro-Blackness as also a lifestyle and not just a term, Blackness has to be involved. Therefore, you cannot be white and be pro-Black. I saw somebody who was like, well, me and my husband are white, we're pro-Black. You don't have the Black experience.
Right. So
to
what would you call them?
What is the cause?
You would essentially say that they're for the cause, and what the cause is uplifting, not just in the context of this conversation, it'll be uplifting Black people's voices, uplifting the Black community in terms of economic engagement and things of that nature, and standing up against oppressive narratives and systems that are in place to oppress Black people. But when you say you're for the cause, it kind of gives the whole gamut of marginalized groups of people. When we talk about pro-Blackness in and of itself, yes, there is a standard that is set forth there. However, I think, and just to kind of reiterate what Mike just said, is that there are individuals who think that just because you're not pro-Black, it completely invalidates the work that you've done or that you're actively doing. And I believe that it's twofold. So if you say that an individual can't be pro-Black, right, because of the standards upon which that exists, does that mean that they're not for the cause? That's on them in terms of the activities that they engage themselves in, how much they educate themselves, as well as what they consistently fight for. It doesn't make you it doesn't make you less of a person because you're not considered pro-Black if you're still actively fighting for the cause. You're still actively marching. You're still actively protesting. You're still actively doing the actual work. It doesn't make you any less of an individual. Now, if you are not pro-Black and you're not part of the cause, then it's like, that's where we get into that. You're not doing nothing. You know what I mean? So we can't classify you in that space because you're not actively doing anything.
So, but with that thinking though, it spawns onto those who are biracial though, because everything you're saying requires you being Black.
Right, but before we go,
go ahead.
Before we go there, see, I think the classic thing that I'm having a problem with is that we're using two terms that I consider not intermingled, and we are intermingling them. Pro-Black and pro-Blackness are not the same for me.
Okay.
They represent different things, and I hear us talking about both of them, but they're separate.
I'm always talking about pro-Black. I didn't know we could use pro-Blackness into the conversation.
And that's it. But I think we're mixing them because we are talking about pro-Blackness in one sense, but like Mike says about pro-Blackness or Blackness, that is a difference.
So you can be either pro-Black or within your pro-Blackness.
Well, you can, okay, when I think of Blackness, no one can revel in our Blackness except those of, like Mike will talk about the Eve gene and talking about the melanated people that we are. That is our Blackness. And we are, it's like dipped in it. We are blessed in it. Amun-Ra has spawned that. Now, pro-Black means I can, I don't think of myself only as selectively pro-Black. I think of myself as pro-Black from the sense of being in my Blackness. I can see other people being pro-Black, but not in my Blackness, if that makes any sense to anyone.
My only question is this, though. Like, the only issue here, so here's the thing. So Anthony and a couple guys were saying, basically, you can't be pro-Black without being with a Black woman. So how would that conspire to somebody like me who considers themselves pro-Black or pro-Blackness, and I date somebody like a Candace Owens or a half-Black conservative chick or something like that? How does that conspire? Because I'm technically by definition, I'm pro-Black by being with a Black woman, even if she's not for the same cause I am.
Okay.
So how does that conspire?
So like,
that's a good point.
I can see if I can answer this.
I was about to go there, but good point.
Yeah, good point.
I'm just saying. I'm just trying to follow the narrative. That's all.
Makes sense.
I'm a believer in, like, I feel like the first thing that Black people need to do in itself is to repopulate. So I feel like we're America in itself in the out world is trying to, kill us, mass incarcerate us. And you can't be quote unquote pro-Black. I think of it now as like Black radicalism, something that I would like, you know what I'm saying, refer to myself as, because I radically believe in the empowerment of Black people. So I would say that even though you're dating Hakuna Matata, you're still you're still providing Black, you're still empowering Black love, something, you know what I'm saying, that especially now when TikTok is like getting bashed, and you're still repopulating our people and giving us people power just by repopulating.
But you kind of not empowering Black love.
Hell no.
That's going against. You got a person that's going against your Blackness.
Hell nah. So when we talk about putting this into perspective, right? When you talk about you being with someone like a Candace Owens, right? The pro-Blackness, the pro-Blackness nature of that is also the economic, right? As well as social uplifting of the community.
Well, negates itself immediately.
So if you're not actively doing that, even if you're with a Black person, again, you can't say that you're pro-Black, especially if you're actively working to uplift systems that are oppressing the very community that you said that you're pro, aka for.
Yeah, I concur. I concur. You cannot be pro-Black and date Candace Owens. You can't be pro-Black and date a coon.
No,
it's just not possible, because it still gets back to that same thing I'm talking about. What have you sacrificed in the name of that Blackness? And if you're dating someone like Candace Owens, who regularly undermines the Black community and gives cover to white supremacy, then you can't even put that word in your mouth by saying something like, we have a difference of opinion, but we love each other. No, that means you cannot do that. That is not possible. That goes back to, I don't care if she's Candace Owens or Laura Ingraham. If it's the same mentality, and if either one of them, you cannot in good faith say, because they do this on a regular basis. This is not something y'all talk about at home. This is who they are. They're anti-Blackness, and that's what I say. We have to qualify this, because in order to understand pro-Blackness, you have to understand what anti-Blackness is. Mm-hmm. And those, you can be Black and be anti-Black. Candace Owens is a prime example. And if you're going to date somebody like that, then you're going to be accepting of that anti-Blackness. Okay. And yes, in my opinion, that would just diminish you in the struggle for me. I'm not
100%.
All right, so like at the end of the day, I think of it like this. So I'm not trying to throw his name out there, but there's somebody I know that is a pro-Black person, and they've changed their perspectives on a coon. And I feel like at the end of the day, if they're a coon, they're still Black. But, you know what I'm saying? They're a coon, but they still Black. And if
all kinfolk ain't kinfolk though.
I know that, but if you can change their perspectives on it, and you know what I'm saying,
qualify that. What do you mean change their perspective?
If you can first of all, being a coon, you're already a patient of white, you know what I'm saying, supremacy, change. You just have to rewire their mind. You know what I'm saying? I just think that coons in themselves are mentally ill in some form or way. Like, I mean, you have a dark-skinned woman literally saying she don't believe in climate change. Like, come on, bro. Like, it's a mental illness. Like, it's something that you're literally programmed to, like, you know what I'm saying? If you're a coon,
we can't call it mental illness, because then we're going to make excuses for their behavior like it could be treated.
You're right.
Choices. You
choose, when you are actively anti, especially again, when you qualify this is not something that you just wake up and decide to do. This is something that you have to actively be a part of. And again, and I want to make sure that I more specifically drive this point home, that you can definitely still be for the cause, but we cannot historically continue to keep excluding the Black family from being pro-Black. And that is where we get into the disagreements of, oh, well, I'm still pro-Black and I'm with, and that's cool. However, that means you're for the cause. What is the cause? The cause is fighting against the oppressive natures that downtrod that community. What community are we talking about? The Black community. We're not talking about people of color. We're not talking about marginalized groups of people. We're talking specifically about the Black community. That does not negate you as a Black man. That does not negate you as a Black woman. As long as you are actively out there still doing the work, then that in and of itself valid. I mean, you're already valid because you're Black. You know what I mean? And that's not on no type of genetic superiority. So whoever's watching, don't take it that way, goofies. But in terms of, you know, your validity, in terms of the work that you're doing, just because someone says that you're not pro-Black, it does not invalidate everything that you've put forth and the work that you've consistently done both in and outside of the community. However, you can still be down for the cause, which is consistently and actively, keynote, actively doing the work.
So with all of that being said and the opinions that were stated, how does that affect the products of these non-pro-Black relationships?
Wait, what? Can you repeat that?
So this is what I'm saying. If you're saying someone can't be pro-Black because they're dating someone who is not Black, what happens then to the children who are a production of that relationship? Are they not able to be pro-Black as well?
Oh, they Black.
It depends.
They Black.
They Black.
They Black.
But
Also,
it don't matter.
Not all biracial children are Black though.
We got no. Hold on. We got
but all Black biracial children are Black.
Oh yeah.
It depends on how they identify. If they identify with their white side more than they do their Black side, I would say that specifically is on that individual's experience. Me personally, if you walk up to me and tell me that you're mixed with Black, I'm gonna say you're Black.
Right.
Period. You know
I was definitely about to bring up the experience because you have some when it comes who know nothing about their Blackness to be pro anything.
Right.
But see, that doesn't. I think we're saying we're looking at it two different ways. I'm saying you're Black whether you want to embrace it or not. You're Black. If we go back, to the one drop rule, we go back to the Eve gene, we go back to what is Blackness. If your skin produces melanin, you are a Black person in this capacity, or a person of color. But we're talking about Blackness. So when I say experiences or what you identify as, it doesn't really have to do. We have Black people that identify as white. It just is.
Yeah.
And they got Black grandparents. They Blacker than I am. And they identify as Black.
I want to hear Q's take on this.
Yeah, I think really like what classifies you like as Black, or like, first off, when you say that you're Black, I think it has two meanings when it comes to it. Like, I can say I'm Black, like, and it means the ethnicity part of it, but also the skin tone part of it. So like Logic, for instance, like he's white, but he's also biracial. So he is both Black and he also has European ancestry. So the reason why we say Black for the two meanings to it, ethnicity and the skin tone, is because like we were taken from Africa and we don't know where the hell in Africa we're from. So when you say I'm Black, it just infers like, oh yeah, you're from Africa. But like, that's why I don't say like, oh yeah, I'm Black and white, because that doesn't make sense, because I'm not white. Like I'm not, you know, I'll say I'm European, like that's correct. But so I just want to clarify on that. Like, yeah, I think it's how the world sees you and how you experience the world. And you also have to remember, like, race is a made up concept as well. So I think it also has that subjective level to it. When it comes down to it, it's how the world sees you.
How the world perceives
you. On the plantation, like, are you the master or are you a slave? I think that's what it comes down to. So
race is a social construct. Blackness is not. Okay, race is the social construct.
Right.
Blackness is not. And I hear this, and it kind of it's interesting to me to understand that when we look at, you talk about the definition of how others define you. I'm not Black because of what other people say. I'm not Black because I come from Africa. I'm Black because it is the Africa it is the cubulon that is in me. It is not about an external classification. It is about embracing the history. When Michael brings it up, the Eve gene. Do you understand you can talk about the racism and the social construct that has led to it, but Blackness is independent of that. And anti-Blackness is independent of that. It doesn't matter what you all go around here and try to classify you all selves as. When you're out in the world The world will see you for your Blackness because of that is the entity. It's not only, our Blackness is not only skin deep. That's the whole problem. Our Blackness is genetic, it's spiritual, it's mental, it's emotional, and it's a manifestation of who we are as a people. But when we lose contact with that spiritual connection, we say things like, I'm not Black because my mom is white and I'm mixed.
Well, I don't mean
I hear you all, and I don't want to be offensive, and I just want to say,
I get what you're saying. I'll cut you off, and I understand how the world views mixed people. I am totally fully aware of that. But I think with this particular topic, where the issue lies is that it's Black people who still will not see us as Black, therefore, hence saying we can't be pro-Black. So while
I thought the topic was, if we date white people or other people, can we still be pro-Black? See, that's two different topics.
I think it was a subsection. Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I think that's because how you all define yourselves, because you're Black to me. I don't call you all mixed. What are you?
Yeah,
mixed?
I would say it's based on
you are Black, and if anybody, the people that do call you all non-Black are in themselves lost, because they don't understand Blackness is your legacy, is your right. It's not somebody's to bequeath up on you. I can't take your Blackness from you. You have to give it up. Just because I've been called everything of a child of God, that doesn't mean I'm not Kemetic, because you can't take that from me. No one can take your Blackness from you. No one can force you to identify by something you're not, unless you allow them to.
I think it also has a lot to do with exploration as well, as it relates to the individual's life experience, in terms of, let's say, for example, you do grow up biracial, right? And I don't really like saying mixed race too much. Kind of gives me to like the animalistic kind of feels like you're not fucking animals, you're people, you know what I'm saying? So the biracial, I call it the biracial experience, right? When, let's say, for example, you're raised by your quote unquote white side, right? The exploration aspect of it is, are you doing the research, or are you actively working to explore that Black side? Because you have some that will grow up biracial and only have one part of the experience. You're biracial, but you only have one part of the experience. So therefore, your mindset toward those that you may come across another biracial person and they be the completely opposite end of the spectrum of what you consider yourself, then it goes down to the exploration of the individual. Just to qualify what Tnathan said, I agree. I'm going to look at you, and regardless of whether you're Black passing or white passing, if you tell me that you're Black, period. But to me, I think that is more of an individualized experience, and more specifically, individualized identification, because you will have some who are biracial that identify more with their white side than they do their Black side. Then you have some that identify more with their Black side than they do their white side. Then we have the unique biracial individuals whom they're not Black enough for their Black side, or they're not white enough for their white side. So they're really in between, and they're not really sure where they fall in the spectrum, but they're still continuing. And I always want to double back to this. They're still doing the work. And I think holistically, when we put this conversation into full context, to me, and this is my personal opinion, I think it's specifically about doing the work. When we talk about the biracial aspect of introducing this into the conversation of pro-Blackness, it's, are you doing the work? Because even if you don't identify, you have that biracial experience, I can't tell you how to identify. Only you can do that. So in this regard, I'm looking at you one way, but you're identifying another way, but you're still actively doing the work. I can't discount that.
All right, so I have a question from somebody on YouTube. It's directed to Anthony, but I would love to hear Ant and Gico answer. Disastrous X says, so Anthony says there's a space for non-Black people who are consistently doing the work to uplift Black people. It's just not the pro-Black space.
Right. That, again, it means you're for the cause. You're not pro-Black, but you're for the cause. So to qualify that, again, being pro-Black is taking all parts of being pro-Black, aka pro the Black community, pro the Black family, pro the Black man, pro the Black woman, pro the Black child, the economic uplifting of our community, and all that lies within. Now, being for the cause is fighting actively against the systems that are used to diminish, devalue, and degrade the experience that Black people have in America, i.e., things like gentrification, things like the school to prison pipeline, all things that exist within our community that you're actively fighting against. So while you may not be pro-Black, that space that you hold is being for the cause.
Jico?
He hit the nail on the head in its entirety. That's pro-Black. Like, of course, there's going to be people that can like be like, oh, well, because I had somebody, they were like, well, I have an Asian husband, but I'm doing work in my community. I'm like, that's cool. That's for your community. That's for the cause, but you're not pro-Black. You cannot call yourself being pro-Black if you're with somebody who's not Black. Simple.
So I'm trying to get some of the questions from up here, but Merc, what do you think?
I
have a different opinion than theirs.
I mean, like I said, I personally disagree because, like, say for example, say my girl, she wasn't full white. Say she was only half white and she was other half Black. I mean, I don't get the even though she's still Black, like, would I still be considered pro-Black or would I not be because she's still half white? So I'm also dating a white woman as well. So it's like, and then somebody like you who is half Black and half white, rather if you dated somebody who is Black, even though you're half white, can they be considered pro-Black? Can you be considered? I just feel like there's certain situations where when you apply that logic, it can be debunked. But that's just my personal opinion.
No,
I want to address this. Let's stop with the half Black, half white thing. That is a product of colorism.
Yes.
That is a product. And I think when it's biracial and all this is a product of colorism. If you have a Black parent, I don't even care if we go back to the one drop rule, but we've always been, when you talk about the Eve gene, when you talk about the fact that I don't care what color you are, you have a child with a Black woman, that child was Black. So let's stop with the colorism because
the reason that I bring it up as being like a very important question is because, I consider myself pro-Black. I know what I look like. I know what society sees me, although I've never been white to white people. Black people don't always see I'm Black either, hence saying I cannot be pro-Black.
No, but see, that's on them. That's not on you. So stop internalizing other people's failures as Black people and making them your problem. 99 problems and people not thinking I'm Black is not one of them. And that is because I live in my Blackness. And it doesn't matter, like I say, it's colorism that makes some Black people think that, because it's the reverse that has been used for so long as being closer to white with more privileges and farther from the dark skin, but that is a product of racism and plantation mentality. Because every hue I see on this page, I can find in Africa, okay? This is with no mixing of the European blood with. We are a very diverse people. And when you go and you allow people to diminish or to quantify your Blackness because you are a product of a Black person and a white person, no, you are Black. You're Black. Everybody in this panel is Black. And the young Merc, when you were talking about, when you said half Black, it's a difference. Because you're married, you will be dating a Black woman, no matter what else. She's a Black woman. And so that wouldn't be the same as dating, in Anthony's case, when he's talking about a white woman. It wouldn't be the same because one is Black, one is white. And I still think we qualified based upon colorism, and that in lies the problem. I'm not going to have a conversation and justify it based upon the colorism that has been a problem for our communities since slavery, because people were too stupid to realize that Apiculon came in multiple shades of Blackness. And then when we get here, we started to because we were separated from the homeland and we didn't see those shades anymore. And we thought those shades were only produced when we mixed them with Europeans. But it's kind of the opposite, because the genes that we have, that we inherited through our mitochondrial DNA, is from that Blackness. And it's not even, and that's proud of, you know why white supremacy exists? Because the philosophy of white supremacy can only perpetuate itself if we demean and degrade our genetic structure. And that's not even on supremacy. That is on what is. Because when you look at it, we are predisposed to live in certain environments. And we had to genetically advance ourselves to survive in those jobs. And that is passed down through our mitochondrial DNA. And I mean, like it or not, it's the truth.
So before I think y'all came in, I was talking about that same thing, Tnathan. I was saying that race is a social construct based on your physical appearance. And technically, there's like no such thing as being mixed, quote unquote, with black and white. You're mixed with African and European. Your race is a social construct. You're either black or you're white or you're Asian or whatever the sorts. And you can be a non-biracial person and look like Q. You can be a non-biracial person and look like E.B. Reddy. I have a brother and he is light, super light skinned with light green eyes. And me and him both have the same mom. Our mom is black, and he has a dark skinned father. And his grandparents are both light skinned and they had dark skinned children. So black comes in all shades. And I feel like people, you know what I'm saying, are so like insensitive about this. They feel like the darker you are, the more black you are. It's not really the case. There's dark skinned people in Africa as we speak right now. You know what I'm saying? So I was talking about that before you came in. And also I follow you on TikTok. Can you follow me back, please?
Okay. And then one more thing before I get off. Go back to the Eve gene and you understand you're not mixing with Europeans technically, because Europeans come from where? All life comes from where? All Africa. Life comes That's from Abukelon, right? So it's not, when you say that, you're acting like they came from another planet. No, they all came from the Eve gene. The Eve gene is capable of producing it. What has happened, the social construct part is that white supremacy and racism is based on the severe lack of melanin, okay? But they still come from the same gene. So when you're mixed, as you all say, you're just really blending in your genes from where they came. So you're not mixed still. Race is the social construct. Blackness is what we are in.
While you say that, and it definitely makes like total sense, like you still, in the society we live in, like it still does matter. So if we do refer to ourselves as that, it's just because of everyone else. So like,
wow, refer to yourself as what?
Mixed.
What's up? Like, yeah, mixed or biracial or whatever. Yeah.
No, we used to be referred to as Negroes. We stopped that. So stop it. Just stop it.
But I think also when you have people, like I think me and Q pretty much identify the same. But when you have people who are mixed but spew that whole white supremacy ideology narrative, that's where black people, they see that and then they look at us and they're like, no, this is why I don't trust mixed people. Like, this is why.
Exactly. I mean, and that's what I personally fear is if I had a child of my own. Like, I'm worried that just because that if I have a child with a white woman, that regardless of, you know, the colorism thing, somebody would, you know, basically what she said, somebody would see my child, even though I consider them, and even though they are a black child, somebody would look at them and be like, no, they're not pro-black, or they can't be pro-black because they are mixed with white or whatever. So that's really
that's their
yeah.
I think that is more of a personal thing, but I think also too we have to be cognizant, and we've talked about this multiple times. We have to be cognizant of those whom are biracial and of the biracial experience and are more white passing than they are black passing, because then we got to think about historically and socially what the world is going to deem socially acceptable with that individual of the biracial experience that is more white passing than black passing. And I think it comes down to the mindset of, young Merc, I have no doubt in my mind whatsoever that your children are going to know their lineage. But you have individuals who may very well, and same with you, Ed, and same with you, Q, but you have individuals whom will diminish one side, whether it be the black side or the white side, and not teach them holistically what, essentially to prepare them for what the world may very well throw at them. So oftentimes that confusion comes in because they've only had one part of that experience. So I think the oppressive nature of the idea that you can't still be pro-black, so to speak, and be with someone that is of a different race is the idea that it diminishes the work that you are not only have done, but are actively doing to fight against the oppressive nature of what keeps our community in the position that it keeps it in as we work to uplift and advance our community forward.
All right, so I have a couple questions and statements in the comments I kind of wanted to throw out there to you guys. One is on this topic right here. but then I want to go back into the pro-Black conversation. This is just a statement from Alonzo Frederick, who says you cannot have a white parent and classify yourself as only Black. It's problematic for the monoracial Black people.
Wait, is that Alonzo? That is actually my classmate and my stroll brother. He goes to Morehouse with me.
Well, that's him.
Yeah. Oh my God.
That was his statement in response to what you guys said.
Stop the cap. Yeah.
It's your scroll brother, so I'm gonna be quiet because you're gonna.
Listen,
what I say,
he's blowing.
He might want to leave your scroll when I finish, right?
Listen. He's blowing up my phone right now. He's saying, "I'm sorry, but biracial people are exactly what they are. Biracial. They are not only Black, but they are Black. And how can you have a whole white parent and then classify as only as Black? Most Black people are monoracial, so having a white parent literally makes you different than the masses of Black.
Stop the cap.
So that's a prime example of what I was saying. That is a prime example. So either we say, you know, I'm mixed, then it's a problem for this group of people. We say that we're Black, it's a problem for this group of people. Like there's no middle ground for mixed people. And it's hard when we try to be like
you don't need a middle ground.
In our Blackness. And I've had people come up when I'll say stuff on TikTok, have people say things, you're not Black. Why are you even talking about this? Like, wait, what? You know, like that's where we are with that. So that's where my question with the pro-Black in your Blackness derivative came from, because I get that a lot. Like I can't be pro-Black half white.
Yeah, that's cap. That's straight cap. Because at the end of the day, again, that's an understanding of who you are. Facts, the miseducation of the Negro. It's an understanding of who you are in your, like Tnathan said, in your Blackness. Now, you can have an individual whom, hey, purpose of power, let's get it.
Yes.
You can have an individual whom, again, grows up in an environment that teaches him or her, or they, them, you know, shout out to my non-binary folk,
absolutely,
that they are not of the Black experience, to whereby they will live their entire life only identifying with the specific side that was enriched their entire life. Then you have those that have the opposite end of the spectrum, right? That only identify with the Black side and don't identify with the white side. Then I think the ones that oftentimes get lost the most is the ones that don't fit the mold of society's standard of not being Black enough for their Black side or white enough for their white side. And that to me comes down to your own personal identification. That brother can have whatever feeling that he wants to have towards, you know, those of the biracial experience. My question to you as an individual of the biracial experience, how do you identify and how steadfast are you in your identification? Because if someone can consistently tell you, you're not this, you're not this, you're not this, you're not this, and then you accept it into your psyche, you have then allowed that individual to impact how you view yourself and how you identify.
He's literally blowing up my phone right now.
I'm at the point where I feel like I do understand and respect some of those comments, because I understand like why gatekeeping in the Black community is and all that, because
I get it. I just don't
society puts us as like the standard for Black people.
He's
by me saying I shouldn't occupy a space that a Black woman should does not make me less Black. It makes me recognize that that space is for a Black woman, not a mixed woman. But it doesn't take away my Blackness. But let me move on.
Hold on. No. We can't move on.
Okay, hold on.
You can't throw that out there.
Because I do have questions.
No, I didn't walk over there and grab 3 books just to show off, just to give a plug for Anthony Highland, right? This goes down to we are still not acknowledging the fact that we have to deal with the trauma that has been caused by white supremacy on our own communities that forces people that are Black to devalidate the other Blackness of other Black people to make them feel good about themselves. So no, it is not. What part did you not just get when we talked about the Eve gene and we talked about if you have a Black, okay, let's just take you back to the transatlantic slave trade. Now let's go a couple of hundred years later. Let's go and talk about chattel slavery and hereditary slavery in this country, right? Mm-hmm. If that was the case, why were mixed children slaves?
Because they were still Black.
Because they were still Black.
They were still
Black. If you came out of a Black woman, and if you came out of a white woman, some of them too, you were Black. Master might have been master's child, but you were still property. Stop
Right.
with this narrative that devalues the blackness because of colorism.
But hold on,
not
Tnathan.
identifying.
Hold on, Tnathan. Let's qualify this, because then we get into the historical coloristic nature of that entire sentiment, right?
Exactly.
Because if you were more white passing, where were you?
No.
You were a house Negro.
In the house. If you were more black passing, where were you?
In the
Out
field.
in the field.
Right.
What most people don't realize is those that were in the house were actually treated worse than those that were out in the field.
And that's what I'm talking about. We have this false narrative based on our trauma. And when we try to straighten it, we have people on the outside telling us, no, that's not it. We're going to classify you as this. You ain't going to classify me as a damn thing. What in the hell? Oh, hell no.
Real quick, I feel in this chattel slavery, they did use the one-drop rule to create and populate and have more slaves in itself. And if you are a white passing biracial person, like logic, your race is white because you look white. So
you know what?
Well,
let's take this into account. Let's talk. We want to talk about race. Let's talk about South Africa and apartheid. That's the very system that was used to divide Black people and to keep the apartheid in place for longer than it should have been, because they allowed you to believe that you were closer to white because of your light skinness, and they had colored, and they had Black, and they had Africana. And that was a division created by the South Africans to keep us from being unified. I'm not. We have to deal with the trauma of colorism in our community. And that trauma of colorism is only going to be dealt with when we stop this narrative of mixed children in our community. And I understand. It is what you are. If you have, like say, Holly Berry, I think she was raised by her mother, who was Caucasian, right? And she still had to learn of her Blackness because it wasn't inherent to the environment again. And you get in psychology and you get to nature versus nurturing, right? So you had to deal with that. But the essence of it is pro-Blackness is not tied to that. Pro-Blackness is about action in the community. Your Blackness is what we are also discussing here. And we have to start to embrace the fact that our Blackness is not mixed with anything. Our Blackness is in and of itself based upon our genetic predisposition. One drop, I'm just saying, and then I just want to go back to this one more time, and I'm gonna leave it alone, right? Because you keep talking about the Eve gene. That is very significant to understand that when you have these conversations and you're talking about mixed, and it's like paint. You're not mixing it. You're just going back to where it came from.
Right.
So when you talk about mixing with a European, racism and Blackness are not the same thing. The concept is imposed upon us because of our Blackness. Our Blackness is what is feared. Okay, I'm good.
All right, so
I'm going back to reading The Miseducation of the Negro again.
Look, I'm gonna go on to some of these questions. The first one is from Tia. Tia would like to know if you date and are married to someone who is white and it doesn't work out, and then you go date someone who is not white, you begin dating a Black person. Does it change then to pro-Black?
What now? I'm sorry.
Say it again.
So if you're involved with a person who is white, y'all break up, it don't work out, then you end up with someone Black as a Black woman or man. Does that then make you pro-Black again?
I guess, because
that's a lot of lifting in that question.
It's a lot. This is where I keep coming back to personally, because you got all these. It's so many different situations and scenarios that can define you being pro-Black and then you not being pro-Black. My dad, he's dated all types of women. Obviously, he had me with my mom. My mom's a Black woman. My dad has dated Asian women, Hispanic women. He is now married to my stepmom, who is a Black woman. They have been married for 17 years. And he has always, just like me, has always loved and valued the beauty of Black women, the beauty of being with a Black woman. But there are people who back in the day who would give my dad shit if he was with a white woman, if he was with an Asian woman, if he was with a Latino woman. Like I said, it's so many situations where I feel like where situations that can contradict a person being pro-Black and a person not being pro-Black. That's why me personally, I'm always going to define myself as pro-Black, because I don't know, the white woman that I'm with now, I don't know if we're still going to be together a year or two from now. She may not even be the woman that I end up having my kids with. I may end up having kids with a Black woman. But however, my mindset and who I am as a person, as a Black man, has never changed. My thought process has never changed. It's always been the same since day one. So that's why when we talk about the issues of what makes a person pro-Black, that is where I stand on it and why I feel like there's certain contradictions. But at the same time, I do get everybody's perspective, and I do get where everybody's coming from.
I would say that if you see the value in a Black woman, what purpose is there in deviating from the Black woman?
I have a question, and I don't know how personal we can get here.
I mean,
my question,
no, it's live. So if y'all want to get personal and y'all don't mind it being on live,
I don't want to get too personal. It's just, and I'm not gonna call you by your government. It's so hard for me to call you Young Merc when I actually know your name.
Hey, you
right?
know it's all love, family.
Yeah, I never call you Young Merc on the telephone. But anyway, my question would be, why are you? And like I said, this is just for conversation.
Okay.
But why are you with a Black or white woman? Is it the white woman or is it that white woman?
Honestly, when I first met this girl, I had no intentions of dating her. My girlfriend, she's actually a lawyer. She's an attorney, and we end up talking about certain things. She was talking about the justice system. We got on the topic about mass incarceration and basically how she wants to go into legal defense, how she wants to make some of this change. She actually wants to be part of the change in the system. She do realize, she understands that she's a white woman. She understands that she'll never know what it's like to be a Black woman, walk a day in a Black person's shoes. She understands all that. So these are things that she took it upon herself to educate herself on. These are things that I never had to educate her on. Now, granted, if she says something that I feel may be abrasive, may be out of line, I'm going to check her on that. But for the most part, I don't have to, because she knows exactly, she knows the same knowledge, the statistics, she knows all that. But that is what I was attracted to. I was attracted to her as a person, her drive, the things, her fighting for the Black community and wanting to make things better within our community, wanting to help make change to this oppressive system to our community. So that's what made me fall in love with her, not her skin color.
All right. So I'll go next. So my page is basically like half of my videos are about uplifting Black women in itself, because when I joined TikTok, there was so many people just being anti-Black women, anti-dark skin. So, so I was like,
right.
I'm seeing so much of this negative stuff. I'm gonna be the one to start I only date Black women, period. I would never, do that. So even though you say you date a white woman, and she's aware of, her race, and she uses her power to educate herself. And my way of thinking, I'm so radical that I can't even be with a white woman in itself, because I know how much Black women hurt from us leaving them. I feel like Black women in itself are literally I'm trying to think of a word, they're almost being left out. And if you look at the statistics, a lot of, Black men date outside their race more than any race of man combined.
Right.
And especially at this era, and it's becoming more and more prevalent. And when you look at Black men, they be like, what's your preference? Oh, I don't really got a preference for real. It don't matter. Why is it always Black men and us as an ethnic group just feel like we need to leave our Black women in itself? I'm not trying to say you're trying to leave Black women. I'm just saying I can't find love without a Black woman being involved, because that's how radical I am in being pro-Black.
So with you saying that, let me ask you this. Love is one of those things that just happens sometimes.
Listen, okay. People say,
but hold on. Let me
all right, I'm gonna let you finish.
I'm a firm believer that as individuals, we have to see color. Period. We have to.
Absolutely. 100%.
But love within itself sometimes just happens when you don't expect it, through interaction, somebody you work with, somebody you met. The shit just happens. So it's not. In my opinion, I feel that you're not out actively. Some people do. But some people do, but a lot of the times, some people don't actively seek out white women or white men. It just happens. So in that instance, it becomes a choice. So you fall in love with this white woman because of whatever, you're just gonna say, I can't do that.
Okay, so somebody actually commented the same. So yes, you can fall in love with whoever you want to fall in love with, but I'm so radical. I'm such a black radicalist that I can't find the person. I can't find my significant other like that's not black. Like I just can't do that. Like we can be cool, kumbaya, you know what I'm saying? Like what's up, little Rachel from down the street? What's up? But I cannot see you being my significant other because I'm so radical in my mind. Like I just can't.
So
That's
qualify that.
me.
Qualify that. What is it about being a radical that makes you only exclusively
a lot of
want
people
black women?
So what do you believe makes you a radical, like a true radical?
All right, so I believe I'm a radical because, like what I said before, like the pro-blackness has been watered down so much. So I use the term radical because I use my platform and I have belief systems that are, you know what I'm saying, kind of out of the box thinking them, you know what I'm saying, more, how would I describe it? You know how, you know, the people y'all were talking about is like people that's in the middle that don't really like, aren't really for the cause and they have different thought systems than, you know what I'm saying? So I just have different belief systems and I use my educate. Huh?
So what you're saying
belief system?
Like the whole thing with the race stuff. If you don't look black, you're not black. A lot of people disagree with that. I exclusively only date black women. That's something that, you know what I'm saying? I feel like that can have, that's something radical because you're excluding all races and you're just pertaining to your own race.
What are you doing for your community? Because to be a radical, that means you're also putting in work involving your community. So what else are you doing as a right if you call yourself a radical?
Well, I'm using I think the first thing I would say is my TikTok platform. When I get out of the situation, well, right now, I'm not trying to get too personal. I can't really go outside like that because I have a little sister and she's 1. So my parents aren't even letting like people inside my house. I can't really go outside the house like that. But you know what I'm saying? There's steps I want to take further into going out in the community and providing more. And even before that, I would, when I was in high school, I would always do mentorship programs with low income schools and all that, mentorship programs and stuff like that, and community service. But there's stuff I still want to do further on, but I can't do right now because of the pandemic and COVID-19, you know what I'm saying?
Then I feel like one thing you have to be careful of is how you use the term radical, because radical can get watered down the same way with pro-blackness because it's a lifestyle in what you're doing. So with me, as somebody who is pro-black, I don't put myself under the title of being radical because that only brings more attention onto me. I already know that I'm a militant black man. But the thing is, I don't outwardly say that I'm a militant black man because I know of the repercussions and consequences that come from being a militant black man. So as somebody—
You don't have to say it. Anybody who watches you for 5 minutes know you're a little militant, radical black man.
Hey, I was just about to say that.
You
Hey, I
like,
guarantee you, all of us—
I don't say it. So what? People don't notice it? Bro, I watched your page, 3 videos into your page when I first saw you, right? I said, who this little militant radical black man is, right? Yeah, I don't say it.
And I want to ask, is there anybody that's a Pan-Africanist here? Because I'm a Pan-African too. You're a Pan-African? All right, Pan-African. Yep. Yeah. Not you, I speak. Not you, young Merc.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't. In terms of my spirituality, it's just a kind of a boundary that I kind of set down. I don't really discuss what my spiritual beliefs and systems are, just because, again, just like Chico said, the further you climb as it relates to society standards and, you know, how the world views you, sometimes people will weaponize that against you. And I do believe that you are to be as proud as you want to be about what you believe in. And I do believe that there are, for example, when I do, I mean, we're all on TikTok, right? Yeah. There are certain things I think we can all agree. If 99.9% of us, and that 1% is like the person that's not on this call, said what we actually wanted to say on TikTok about the stuff that we see, none of our videos would see the light of day. Am I right?
Fact. Yeah. Hey,
one of them.
I would be banned.
No, one video
I'm banned
would.
Too.
One video would. The rest of them would not.
Right. So in this regard, right? What we got to understand, and this is just, again, something that I've laid down as a boundary, is that I understand that everything that I think up here and everything that I feel in the gamut of my life doesn't need to come out of here.
Precisely. And the thing is that you proclaim yourself saying, I'm a black radicalist, that means that you have already admitted to being radicalized. As a Black man, when you are conscious, you are already in a state of anger, but you have to internalize that anger and then externalize it within the work that you do in your community. So when you say, I am radicalized, you have to be careful with that, because the thing is, not every eye that watches you is for you. So therefore, the same way I can't walk as somebody who's involved with a nonprofit, who's going to be traveling this summer to these urban communities and revitalizing and teaching, the last thing that I can say out my mouth is, I'm a Black radicalist. Now, look, I'm a Black man who participates and acknowledges and condones the Second Amendment. But that's one thing they don't want to hear is, I'm a Black radicalist and I support and condone the Second Amendment, because that's necessary flacking attention onto me. So what you have to do is be extremely careful when you say, I'm a Black radicalist, because that's something that people are going to hold you to a standard to, and that's something that people are going to persecute you for at the same time. So you have to be very careful in the terms of radicalization or militancy. That's something that has to exude you and not something that you have to tell people. So that's one thing.
I think that historically goes into, and this is my final statement about that, is you navigating different spaces, right? We understand that in order for us, this is something that my grandmother told me growing up. Give me a second, sweetheart. This is something that we learned growing up, is that in order to affect change, right? Sometimes it's not enough to just be at the table. Sometimes you just got to make sure that you're in the room when that change is happening, to ensure that your input is taken into consideration, essentially. So sometimes we'll exclude ourselves from spaces that could essentially put us into a position to where we could uplift not just our community, but marginalized groups of people. And you exclude yourself from conversations of that nature and spaces of that nature when you identify certain places, certain ways rather, publicly. Now, I truly do believe that how you identify deep down inside, 100%. You believe it, you live it, you own it. However, we have to be very vitally careful. I'm telling you, when I tell you I go through my videos 10, sometimes 15 times to ensure I said the right thing, because once you hit that post button, you thereby become responsible for every single thing that you say and every single thing that you put into the atmosphere. It's almost the same as these press conferences. As soon as those cameras come on, you are 100% responsible for everything that comes out of here and everything that you think up here that is manifested and then regurgitated out of here. So when you talk about, take this for example, this live conversation, right? Somebody is going to be looking at this, looking for a specific part that they can pull out and say, see, I told you. I'm going to give you a perfect example. I'm going to give you a perfect example. Somebody on my live stream just now, I'm not going to call his name because he is someone that I consistently rock with about it, said to destroy this thought process. He said, my definition of pro-Blackness mirrors that of the white supremacist thought of race mixing.
What is that? Explain. Can you elaborate on?
So the idea of the white supremacist thought of race mixing is, as a white supremacist, I'm only going to be with a white person to preserve the white race. That's the supremacist nature of that thought process. Now, again, when we qualify this, right, and we put it into full context, just because, and this kind of circles back to what I said in the very beginning, just because you're not pro-Black doesn't mean that you can't be for the cause, because being for the cause is the active work that you're putting in. If you really put this into context, the supremacist nature of it, it's not just the white part, but it's the supremacist nature of it. You're trying to ensure the superiority of one over another. And pro-Blackness does not denote that. Just because I'm pro-Black, that does not mean that I'm genetically superior to you. That just means that I'm for my community, for my Black women, if you're a Black woman, for the Black man and for the Black family, in conjunction with the economic upliftment of the Black community and fighting against the systems that oppress and devalue our community. But you see how quickly that can be convoluted into something else? And then you have to bring about clarification to ensure that that's not the narrative that people are going to run with.
I know Q has to head out real quick. Is there anything you wanted to add before you go?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I just want to say, like, just touch on what y'all were talking about as well. The revolution, while it does, and like the liberation of Black people does rely on organizing, you don't always have to be vocal about it, like has been said before. Because, I mean, you can. I would say, be as vocal about it as you can without getting into trouble, and make sure you organize well, But I gotta go. I love y'all. Power to the people.
Brother.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
Smoke.
All love, bro. Appreciate you pulling
I'm
in.
a black. Yeah, have great. Yeah, I'm a black radical. I'm a black radical militant. Yeah, that's me. I want all the smoke. Yeah, I want all the smoke.
Let's go.
I am. James Baldwin said in 1964.
Dang, James.
How long
Baldwin.
must we wait? And I understand these soft approaches. And no, wrong word, because it's not soft. Black moderate approaches some people take. And I understand that black radicals and black militants are only loved after we're dead, but we have to have these conversations. I mean, I think you can't be, I'm unapologetically black. I am unapologetically black. I unapologetically stand on the fact that yes, Tnathan is gonna say some radical shit and he is going, because it's in service to the ancestors. I can't help but say it because the ancestors don't leave me a choice. For 300 years, there were better men than me who the ancestors sent with this message, right? And guess what happened to them? They were all killed. So this is what you all get now. You get the man who's gonna meet you where you're trying to get. And if you're trying, I'm not gonna, Medgar Evers, no, I'm not gonna die like Medgar, but I'm not going to sugarcoat it either. I go into the room demanding attention. I go into the room and tell you, Anthony, you look at my TikTok. My TikTok is not based on the fact that I'm trying to keep an account. My TikTok is based on the fact that I have a message to put out there. And I let the ancestors deal with the system that is in place to stop that message. Because if we don't speak up, speak out, and inspire young men and women to live in their power and in their blackness, we're going to have 400 more years of this submissive behavior that we continue to foster with anything less. It's going to, look, we didn't get enslaved because of moderation. It was a radical decision. Hereditary slavery was not moderate, it was radical. The world had never seen anything like that until the transatlantic slave trade. And these people going around with these false narratives talking about everybody was enslaved. No, nobody had the kind of chattel slavery and hereditary slavery that we as Black people experienced in this country and during the transatlantic slave trade. That needs to be talked about. It needs to be addressed. And we hear people say, oh, where this victim mentality is coming from. I'm not a victim, trust me. I will victimize you, but I'm not a victim. And we have to, I hear you all, I understand your justification, but we've been doing that for 400 years and we have not gotten anywhere. So Anthony will tell you, he could be the president. I'm going to be in charge of the military because I'm going to be the one who's out here letting you know, we are, you know what? We're dying the way we're dying, just like Ella Baker said in 1964. Because we have no boogeymen. They're not scared. Like they used the Klan to inspire fear after the end of Reconstruction, right? They don't fear anything. There's no fear of consequences about murdering unarmed Black men in the street or unarmed Black women. Yep. Yeah, I'm that fear. I'm that fear. I'm the one that they're gonna say, you know what? Yeah, we can talk to the moderates. They're gonna compromise with their liberation. Tnathan, no, he's not gonna come. We're not even gonna talk to him.
So
I'm apocalypse, I'm apocalypse for a reason.
Oh. Hold up, real quick. I just got a question for Tnathan because I don't know if y'all know, but like TikTok has been like deleting a lot of like Black creators in itself recently.
Oh, and we know.
Listen, and a lot of my like listen, and a lot of my lower like people with like 40K that's starting to build up, they have like permanently deleted them, and now I feel like I'm on the verge because they banned. So this is what happened. I made a video. I said I've never met a racist who can fight with hands one-on-one. A white kid duetted the video and said you're right, but George Floyd couldn't fight for air. So I don't know if y'all saw the video, but my followers found his address, his full name, his mom's Facebook, his grandmother's Facebook, the college he's gonna go to, his high school, and literally they left his video up for 12 hours, but mine got took down in 1 hour. They put it back up there. They put it back up there. I submitted an appeal. Right. I submitted an appeal. They put it back up there, but they still counted it. You know what I'm saying? As a violation, even though they apologized. They're like, oh, I'm sorry. TikTok communities, they still put it back up there, but they still counted me. I got banned from posting for a week. I didn't even post anything else. And then they banned me again for another week and I get off probably Tuesday. So I feel like I'm right now at the verge of, I might like, you know what I'm saying? they looking at me next. They
Yeah,
snap.
just don't get caught up in it. Start a new account.
And
It's
realize
the message. It's the message that is important, and not the medium. My grandparents sat at a lunch counter at TGNY for 30 days. They didn't lean out, they leaned in. They sat there until those people were forced to acknowledge them, tipped, and never came back again. But it's about the actions of saying that when people always talk about we're going to leave TikTok, we're going to boycott. I can reach 1 billion people, even when shadow bans and all that, because my fan base, my community base comes to my page to see my content. Those are what you want. You want the people that come. I don't care about the For You page, the follow page. I care about the people who go out of their way to come to my page and see what I'm talking about that day. That's how you're going to survive. If you set your standard by a For You page or the algorithm, then you are going to be depressed. But you set your standard by, I'm putting a message out here. This message needs to be heard, and the people who need to hear it are going to hear it. And then when this account gets taken, I can't even comment on one account right now. I comment off because I told somebody, only thing I said to him was, I'm glad you got content. Let me go back and make a video on this.
That's one thing.
I don't
hold on, y'all. Ever had a question? Go ahead.
No, I was trying to get, because Gico was trying to say something.
Oh yeah,
okay.
The main thing you gotta realize, bro, is it's like this. If you're a radicalist that you proclaim yourself to be, bro, the message is always gonna be more important than any type of following that you have, because it's about the influence that you leave behind instead of just the numbers, bro. Like, I have over 144,000 powerful Black women who watch my content. If my page got deleted right now, I would still be okay, because I know the impact that I left out there. I know how I've changed a lot of those women's lives for the better with my content. Right? So that's another thing too. And also just branch out, make sure you got people on other social media platforms. This is still your network at the end of the day. Like, I done got a lot of opportunities off of TikTok. So just push them to your other social.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I do. As soon as they take a video down, bam, we go right up on Instagram, go right up on Twitter, or hey, however.
And this is what we got to understand as we continue to do this work, right? And I was talking to one of my mentees about this the other day. The work that we do, being for the cause, actively fighting against oppression of all forms, it's not easy. It's not easy at all. You're talking about your TikTok, your life has a target on it. Your likeness has a target on it. The fact that you're an educated Black man and you in college, come on, bro. You ever see Don't Be a Menace? When my man was walking off to college, what they do? Hit him with that sniper rifle. Come on, bro. So you got to take it into your mind that the odds are already stacked against you. However, that doesn't mean that you can't still be successful. That doesn't mean that you can't still put in the work. That doesn't mean that you can't still. And what you do is, I believe it was it Tupac that said, I might not change the world, but I can spark the mind of those that will. So I want to consistently put this information out there to just like Tnathan said, I don't worry about being shadow banned. If my video does 2,000 or 3,000 views, who cares? Who cares? I put the message out there and it'll reach the people that it needs to reach. When you get, in the words of Conscious, lost in the sauce of social media validation, that's when you start caring about those types of things. But when you have a solid message, well, listen, hold on, give me just a second. My grandma taught me something as a child. Heavy is the burden of he who bears the prey. You know what I'm saying? Heavy is the burden. And we have to accept and acknowledge that what we're going to go through is not going to be a simplistic thing. What we're going to deal with and what we're going to encounter is not going to be simplistic. You are uniquely made, especially in your mindset. So when you take into the account that heavy is the burden of he or she or they that wear the crown, then you understand that it's a lot more than just likes. It's a lot more than comments. Mm-hmm. It's a lot more than shares. It's a lot more than followers. It's about building that community and putting that message out into the atmosphere.
Yeah.
All right, so look, this is what we're gonna do, because I know everybody got stuff to do. I want to go through some of these questions, so if we could just kind of answer them, kind of quick, because I know y'all got lives. I don't, but I'm sure y'all got things to do.
I got an exam.
Okay, yeah. So we
give me a second.
So this first question has nothing to do with the related topic, but they said they are all for Black people getting reparations, and if that happens, how do you guys think it will be done?
I just want to apply real quick. I feel like every Black person throughout the African diaspora deserves to have free therapy. Even the smallest things can contribute to reparations. That's just something real quick I just want to add.
Anybody else?
I want to go last.
Oh, okay. Who want to go before?
Anybody else? Yeah.
Wait. I'm sorry. So ask the question one more time.
The question was, I'm all for Black people having reparations. I done moved to another question, but it was more or less, how do you think it will happen or when?
Okay, well, first of all, like we've been fighting for this shit. The reparations, we've been asking for it for decades. The reparations is we want the same schools that we got as white kids got. We want the same opportunities that white people. Those are the reparations. We ain't never been asking for special privileges. We've been asking simply for equality. Those are our reparations. So that to me, that's kind of a loaded question, because to what most people would say, oh, just give every Black person in the world $100,000, or like Trump's bullshit platinum plan. He wanted to give the Black community $100 billion. Like all that, people would consider that, oh, there's your reparations. So to me, the word reparations is very relative.
All right, so go ahead, Jico. I'm sorry.
Send me to South Africa. That's my reparations.
Hey, I hear
you. All right, you want to go ahead, Tnathan?
Okay, number one, I don't need your money. I don't need your money, because then you're going to try to validate, you're going to try to use that as a validation for 400 years of enslavement, right? And reparations, we need to have this discussion about what reparations look like for us. And it looks like creating institutions to address the economic disparities that were caused by 400 years of slavery. You don't have to give me a check. You need to create these institutions. And I don't want equality with less than I am. I don't want to be, because I'm not lessening myself to be equal to anybody. We can tell, that's why I went to a historically Black college and university, because I can tell how ignorant some of these bigots are, and they're educated, that I don't want no kind of education that they ever had. So when I talk about reparations, I'm not talking about a check for everybody, because $100,000 is not going to alleviate the pain and suffering that my ancestors went through. As a matter of fact, it's an insult, because we are if you want to get technical, we are owed more than this country ever can produce. So what reparations looks like is we create institutions and systems in place to dismantle the racist systems that are in place, and then we go from there. Because I'm gonna tell you, I run 2 or 3 miles a day. I don't need any help. I just need you to get out my way. You can try to get out my way voluntarily, or I will move you. This is the truth that we are at. So I felt that question.
And to a group of people whom literally have built this country, it is owed a hell of a lot more than what can be quantified in terms of a dollar amount. Me personally, I couldn't give a flip, because I'm on TikTok, about equality. I care about equitable equality. We've been fighting for equality since the dawn of time, since folks started doing other folk wrong. Equitable equality says, you know what? It's not only are we on a level playing field, but check this out. We are okay with that. It's not enough to say that, hey, we're all on an equal playing field, because in some classes, people are on an equal playing field. But is everyone okay with that? Absolutely not. Otherwise, we wouldn't have the differentiations between the different classes. So me personally, I could give a hoot about equality. I care about equitable equality, something that can genuinely be quantified.
Makes sense. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm only gonna do 2 more questions, because a lot of them are so far off base from the original topic. I don't wanna just be going everywhere. So this one is, I don't want to speak for white passing people, but how are they not white if they inherit the white experience?
You better watch Imitation of Life. She thought she was white until he beat her up in that alley when he found out that she wasn't white. But
I will say that all goes into personal identification and experience. You could be a white passing individual, and then that racist find out that you got Black in you, and they, oh yeah, you're my white friend, and they find out that you got Black in you.
Oh, you Black?
Example. Yeah, facts. And then they find that out, and it's, oh, you Black? Oh no, I can't rock with you no more, because they now know that. So in and of itself, I think it goes into the personal identification of the individual, and not the projection of what someone else says about who you are as an individual.
Correct.
All right, and so go ahead. You want to say something, Jico? I'm sorry.
Oh no, I said correct. That was it.
Okay. last question. This one is directed towards Tnathan. It says, "Hey, Tnathan."
Hey.
Anna L.
That's the wrong person to send a direct question to.
I mean, I don't know if they came late because, you clearly specified your part and Ant did his, but they basically say, do you agree with Anthony when he says a black man is not pro-black if he dates a white woman?
I will say that I agree that for me, and like I said, for me, I think, let me be realistic, right?
Come on. Hey, what happened to Big Man? I don't care. I'm going to say what I want, Tnathan.
It's because we've had this conversation, right? And we've had this conversation, so he knows how I feel. I would say that for me, I need somebody, even though I can believe you can be certain things, for me on my team, I need somebody who's fully committed to the process. I need that full commitment. That doesn't mean that these other people don't have relevance to give to the process, but like you all tell me, I'm radical. I am militant. I need other radical militants that are unashamed and unapologetically Black, because we're going to do some unashamed and unapologetically Black things to get liberation. And I can't have the idea that I don't know if you, and I have to make an exception because I know young Merc. So I make an exception on this basis because I know him, but I'm not going to take the time to get to know everybody else who's married or in a relationship to know if they have gone through and did things in their relationship that I can say unapologetically that we can be on the same side. And I agree with Michael when we talk about our pro-blackness has to have a manifestation, and that manifestation sometimes is to make the hard decisions. I understand love, but I think it's overrated. And Anthony will tell you, I divorced somebody because I woke up one day and found out that their paths had deviated so far from what I considered important in activism. Not because she was a bad mother or anything, but because her path towards activism and the struggle had changed so radically from where we started at that I realized I had to sacrifice that relationship if I wanted to maintain my authenticity as a militant individual that was ready to do black things for liberation. And that's just me. I mean, it takes all of y'all. But
I'm gonna be honest with y'all. There are some very different thoughts and opinions in the comment section.
I just saw.
I was like, wait a minute, what? Anyway,
I can imagine.
And then I saw the question that was directed towards me, and I didn't answer. It was like, is DJFlocko even allowing himself to be with a woman that's not Black? Like, is he even like? And like, I don't know if she's still here, but I just don't find, to answer that question, I only find beauty in Black women because Black women are the blueprint. So I really don't find nothing else like attractive to me than just
now
Black.
You're going to preference now, though.
Yeah, but that was just the question. That was just the question
Right.
That was just the question she asked, and I was answering.
And that's what I was trying to separate on my live, because the same sentiment kind of popped up. Just because you prefer something doesn't mean that you're against something else. It's just something I can't force you. Yeah, I can't force you to be with something that you're not attracted to, or something that you don't, you know what I mean, genuinely rock with. I can't force you to do that. That would be me gaslighting you or legitimately putting you into a predicament to whereby you felt like you had no other option. And that's no way to live for anybody.
Right. Because pro-Black, another thing I want to say before we go, if you're whatever, but pro-Black does not mean anti-white. And that's what some people don't understand.
I think that sentiment right there is the basis of a lot of people's understanding of what pro-Black is.
That's heavy in my life too.
Being Black in general.
I say that all the time.
But as it relates to us, it really ain't got nothing to do with it.
But you know what? But you know why that is, though?
Exactly.
Hold on.
Internalize.
We cannot leave on this. We cannot leave on this. You know why that sentiment persists? Is because every single thing that has historically been pro-white has been anti-Black. That is why. So when you get into the whole idea of the whole reverse nature of the utilizing that logic, it's because historically everything that has been considered pro-white has been anti-Black. So when you look at what pro-Blackness is in and of itself, that whole misconception is that it is anti-white and or anti anything else. And it's not.
And it stems from the fear because they think that we're going to do the exact same thing to them that's been perpetuated onto us. In actuality, it just has to do with what we value in regards to our own community. And that's it. That's literally it.
Eb, shout out to you. Appreciate
Listen,
you.
Thank you, Queen. Thank you.
So much for coming. I enjoyed the conversation. Like, I was nervous, I ain't gonna lie, but you know,
we all think no filter here.
These clips gonna go viral again. I'm trying to tell you, somebody clip gonna go viral.
Oh, it is. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up.
Waiting for my follow back, Tnathan.
What is your account? What is your account, young man?
DJFlocko.
DJFlocko. I'm going there right now, okay?
Hey, what's that move, man?
So
Ed, make sure on your next post you tag all of us. I want to follow Q. I don't know what his username is.
Same.
I'm gonna do a recap post, but also on the post that I did, showing the beforehand, he's on there too. But I'll tag you in the next one, most definitely.
Bet.
Listen, thank y'all. I can't even I don't even know what to say for real. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate your viewpoints. I think it was a great conversation. It was productive. I love it. So with that being said,
much love to you, Queen. Appreciate you having us.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Appreciate y'all, brothers.
Queen.
I love my brothers. Y'all be cool, man.
Bye, guys.
Yeah.
So y'all, tell me what you think. I'm gonna stay on here for only a hot second. There's a 20-second delay. So does anybody have any questions? Anybody want to talk about something really quick? I think it went well. Literally, the nervousness. But I was trying to keep up with the comments. The comments was going fast as hell. I honestly think that I speak is live right now, so of course I'm gonna jump in heads, that's what we're gonna do. But I don't know. What do y'all think? What can I do better? I will tell you what I can do better is taking control of the room. I get that, but what else can I do better next time? I would love to hear that before we go. And if not, better yet, leave it in the comments. I'll check it in a little bit because I'm going to hop off because I'm going on Ants Live. But anyway, I love y'all. Thank y'all for coming. I appreciate my moderators more than anything. It is what it is. And we will be back next week.